Last December marked the moment we have all been working so hard to achieve. The acceptance of HMS Queen Elizabeth by the Royal Navy into Her Majesty's fleet. This has been a fantastic achievement. Not only did we deliver the ship within the contracted timescales, but also the performance of the ship in its early sea trials has been the best performance in living memory of any first-of-class complex warship built in this country, which is a huge tribute to British engineering, British innovation, and the skills and the dedication of the many thousands of people across the aircraft carrier and its supply chain who have worked so hard to make this a reality.
In terms of the first steel cut, it was obviously a momentous occasion, and I don't think everybody just realised how incredible the journey was going to be.
The day that we taken her out the dock, moving off the wall, turning her around, taking her out that entrance lock, not a problem. That was a very proud moment actually for the yard.
And that point of how important the ship is to the people within it really hit home when the ship went from being an inanimate object, which was a place of cold steel, into somebody's home, because where they sleep, where they work, it's where they eat. And that transition to ship staff move on board really was when the atmosphere on board changed. There was a real pace about a drive to get the ship out. The Navy started taking ownership of the ship. Very much then a drive to get her out to sea and get our hands on her. The absolute highlight of working on the programme so far was seeing Queen Elizabeth leave Rosyth.
I think it was probably a nervous moment, excitement, nerves. Everybody at that particular time, including myself, spent a lot of time on the flight deck wondering if the ship was actually going to get through the gate.
And then we were allowed up on deck, so we went straight to the bow and looked over the edge and was like, oh, it's a long way down, isn't it? And watching the people milling around on the dockside, watching us and then waving back.
Just the sense of pride for the whole workforce, standing round the head of the dock, watching her going out, seeing the labours of her effort moving. For all that we had only, what, was it a metre either side to come out the dock? Fantastic piece of engineering.
I was so proud standing on that flight deck, seeing the traffic on the other side of the river, people stopping on the bridge. You know, it was amazing, the buzz that the whole thing created.
The massive day when we sailed the ship from Rosyth for her maiden voyage was something very special for us all, and I always reflect on how many hundreds of sailors on board my ship had not even been to sea before. So it was truly a momentous occasion and a very special day for us all who worked so hard across the Navy and industrial parks to see her finally get going.
It was a real sense of achievement. Stood out on the flight deck, going under the fourth row bridge with great ease. There's a huge sense of passion and pride that we were being globally watched and that we'd all been a part of that. There's a real sense of achievement.
The culmination of the years of hard work is ultimately taking the ship out in sea trials. You can do so much testing while you're alongside, but the final proof is to demonstrate the ship and the capability at sea. We've done the high-speed manoeuvres, we've done high-speed trials, we went astern. Without the teamwork between the RN and the ACA, we would never have achieved what we did. It was a very, very successful sea trial period for everyone.
And what was fantastic, within even 6 hours of getting out to the North Sea, we hit some fairly spicy weather, and the hull proved to be extremely stable, extremely strong. She didn't flex, and very quickly we ran up to full power, just under 30 knots, and she performed extremely well.
We were all quite nervous, first of all, when we went out to sea. Everybody was waiting for that moment when you get out to sea and you turn your kit on for the first time. Is it going to work? Have we done everything correctly? And I think it was a weight off our shoulders to be able to see that demonstrating and performing when we went to sea.
We know it should work, but we've never been able to prove it. The only time you can prove it is when you're at sea. Allowing telephone calls to be made off ship so that the sailors can phone their families in the evenings, and for it to work, it's great.
We work sort of like helping out sort of some of the crew sometimes, like a lot of them, it's the biggest ship they've been on, so they were pretty impressed with it themselves.
It gives these guys invaluable experience of how to operate the ship in the years ahead.
Well, the highlight for me would be sailing to Portsmouth and seeing all the crowds watching the ship come into its home port. It was amazing. I couldn't believe how many people there was, and you realise how big a project it is, and everyone loves it.
And it was very proud to actually see her coming up the channel, all the hype, the helicopters, and it was actually very pleasing to see the ship staff all around the perimeter with industry in the middle, which was a really proud moment.
Actually being able to kind of tell my family and my friends that I was stood on top of there and I was part of this massive programme, and that I could say I was stood in that line up on top. I'm just so proud of it.
There was a general air of anticipation, and then as people could see the ship, all of a sudden you could hear the excitement increasing, and then there was a massive round of applause. I stood next to a young family and there was this young girl next to me, and I pointed out the ship through a gap in the harbour, and she was so excited to see it, and just to see the look on her face summed it all up for me.
As we got to the round tower, I was in the front row, so I could see people's faces and I could see them waving and smiling and laughing and taking photos. And then to get closer to the dockyard, obviously you see the old naval ships and you think, yep, that's part of our history. Go past the Type 45 thinking, that's the modern Navy. And then to come alongside was just amazing.
It was just one of those moments that people on board, people witnessing, watching the ship's arrival, it was just something that you'll never forget.
It's been really great to see all our hard work to come fruition. We've spent years and years planning and getting ready for the ship's arrival, and when she came in it was so seamless and it worked exactly the way we wanted to. When I look back later in my career, I'll know it'd be a job that we did really well.
To have the final commissioning ceremony within the hangar deck, and Her Majesty the Queen being there and the ship being accepted, the white ensign getting risen up, the satisfaction, pride, enjoyment. Personally, it's the proudest moment of my working career.
It was the wow factor from the families arriving on board, and it was statements like from a TARDIS to this is absolutely amazing inside. How has this ship been built? You know, and you're sitting in between that, listening to that, saying, you know, I was part of this.
And it was really great to see the Royal Marines Band playing, all the ship's company family there, and the whole of industry in the Royal Navy looking on this project milestone and being very proud for the nation.
And of course now we are about to take the ship back to sea, where we start to operationalise the ship. We test her radars, her radios, and we start to warm the flight deck up with more aircraft. With the Spectre, of course, embarking our first fixed-wing aircraft, the F-35B strike fighter, and the ship's responding really well. So what an exciting time ahead after what has been a truly epic and exciting 6 months before.
There's very much a positive aura about it. The ship's crew love how she handles, love how she operates. Their overwhelming drive at the moment is to take her out and show her off across all the other navies across the world.
When I watched the news, it was really fantastic to see a ship arrive in Gibraltar, and to think that I played just a small part in that programme made me feel really proud.
I think it's massively important that we have created a platform that can protect our Royal Navy so they can protect the United Kingdom.
It's a fantastic deterrent, and to actually hand that over to the Navy, to let them learn, understand what they've got, how best to use it, where best to deploy it. I can't think of a better final.
These two ships now being built brings the UK very much back to the fore in the world stage again.
This is a prime example of how, as a UK, we can still make things. We can still make things that are world class and stand up against anything else in the world.
I think we need to build on what we've learnt now and carry it forwards.
This is a first, and it's got to be recognised, acknowledged, and fly the flag.
I think everyone should look back and give themselves a good pat on the back. It's a real good job, well done.
I think there's definitely an emotional connection with the ship. That pride will always come through, and it's almost like a payback through the whole life of the ship. We'll always have that connection with it.
Queen Elizabeth and Prince of Wales, they're both so big that nothing is ever going to match it. All the boats are just tiny.
I think it tops everything off, really. It's a highlight of certainly my career.
It's been a part of my life, a good part of my life.
I always describe this programme as iconic.
Hard work.
The challenges.
Fantastic.
Pride of Britain.
#1 team.
Rewarding.
Professionalism.
The largest mobile IT system in the world.
It was just great to be part of.
It's something that you dream about in your life, that you will have one experience. And Queen Elizabeth, for me, was that experience.
So it's been emotional, there's no doubt about that. It's been very special indeed. But we've done it for every individual who's played their full part in getting this ship to sea. It's been a truly collective team effort. And you know what? There are very few countries in the world can do this. We should be really proud as a country, really proud as industry, and really proud as a Navy of what we're pulling off here. It's been fantastic, and thank you all.
An alliance is not just about organisations coming together in pursuit of a common purpose. It's about thousands and thousands of people from different organisations with different skills and disciplines working together to achieve something that is far greater than the sum of the parts. So thank you for everything that you've done. I hope that you are all as proud of being part of the HMS Queen Elizabeth story as I am. Thank you.